Hello everyone, I am Gyan and you are learning computer science with Python for class 11th. In this video we are going to learn about various functions supported by string. So we are going to learn Python's built-in string functions and methods. See, right now you may not have proper understanding of functions or methods. Okay, but you can think that a function is a set of program in which when you input something, it performs an operation on your input data and creates output. This is what the function is. So sometimes you need to pass a data in the function in order to perform operations on that data. Or sometimes you may need to call a function by using a data. At this time, this is high possibility that you are not understanding my words. But just keep my words in the corner of your mind and let's start learning about built-in string functions and methods supported by Python. Built-in means you are not going to create functions. The functions which are already there in Python to support various string operations. That's why all the functions we are going to learn are called built-in functions. These functions are already available to use. You do not have to create them. Let's see the first function in this list, and that is called the len function. The len function. When you pass a string to the len function, it gives length of that string. Okay, suppose that s is equal to apple and you pass s to the method len, it returns 5. If you just pass the string apple to the method len, it also returns 5. So this is how it works. Okay, when you pass a string to the len method, it returns length of that string, means number of characters in that string. Let's try this practically. Create a string s is equal to apple and type x is equal to len s, and if you print x you get 5. You can just write len and apple as a string. So string apple will be applied as argument to the method len. Press enter and here you got 5. The other method supported by string in Python is called list method. List method. When you pass a string to the list method, it creates list out of that. What I mean here is, suppose that s is equal to apple and you pass the string s to the method list. It creates a list with its element as various character of the string apple. A, P, P, L, E. This is the list created by the list method using the various characters of the string. Let's try it practically. Right here x is equal to list s and here your x is a list whose elements are A, P, P, L and E. Write here list and type here hello. Press enter and this is the list whose all the elements are various characters of the string. This is the list method. The other method supported by string data type is called capitalize method. Capitalize method. If you call the capitalize method using an string object, then the first character of the string will be capitalized. Okay, let me show you an example. S is equal to I love my India. I in a small, love my India. Press enter and then you call the capitalize method by using the string s. Notice here that we are not passing the string s to the capitalize method. we are calling the capitalize method by using the string s. So there are two ways to call a function. Right now I cannot explain why such two ways exist, because calling a method by using a string object is a matter of class and object, is a matter of concept of class and object, whereas passing the string object to a method is a matter of functions and methods. And I think in the class 11th you don't know any of them. So just memorize my point, as either you can pass a string to some methods, or you can call some methods by using the string object. There are two ways of calling a method. And here you need to remember that how to call a method: by passing the string object to that method, or by calling that method by using the string object. You may need to remember this thing. And of course, I cannot explain you concepts behind it, because these are the concepts of functions and methods. These are the concepts of classes and objects in object-oriented programming. So I cannot explain it right now. Just memorize it. There are two ways to call them. You need to remember that how to call a particular method by passing a string in it, or by calling that method by using the string. Please memorize this thing for now. So capitalize method should be called with the string object. Okay, means we are calling the capitalize method by using the string object. Therefore I write s dot capitalize. Press enter. It returns a string in which first character of the string has been capitalized. Only first character of the string will be capitalized, and notice here I in India is in lowercase now. Let's experiment something more. S is equal to I capital love, right here capital love, my India. Press enter. Then write here x is equal to s dot capitalize. Press enter. Type x. Oh, that means how capitalize is working is it converts the first character of the string in capital letter and converts all the remaining characters in the string in a small letter. Let's write here again I in capital. Press enter. S x is equal to s dot capitalize. X is equal to s dot capitalize x, and again I have capital I love my India, and except capital I all other characters are in a small alphabet. The other method supported by string is called count method. Count method. Count method can be called as string dot count. That means you do not have to pass the string as a parameter to count method, but you have to call the count method by using the string object. String dot count, and there are three parameters in count. Okay, first one is the substring which you need to count in the string. I will explain it what it is. Second thing is that from where you want to start counting and up to where you want to count. That means where you want to end your counting. You have to count sub in the given string. You have to start from start, and you have to go up to end minus 1 while counting. Let's see an example. If I write here A B R A C A D A B R A, A B R A C A D A B R A, abracadabra. Okay, actually it is abracadabra dot count, and you have to count the string AB. Means in this string how many times the substring AB has been appeared. You want to count this. Okay, that's what I have written here. You have to count sub. Here substring AB is sub. Sub means substring. So this substring you want to count in the given string, that how many times the substring AB has been appeared in this string. First let's count manually. One time, okay, second time, okay, so it got appeared two times. Therefore in abracadabra substring AB appeared two times. Now suppose that I want to count the substring AB in abracadabra, but my range of counting is little different than earlier one. I want to start counting from 4 and want to go up to 8 minus 1, that is 7. So where is the index number 4? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to start from C, and 5, 6, 7. You have to go up to A. In this range, actually, we do not have any substring AB, and therefore the count method will return 0. Now let's use the count method again. You have to count the substring AB in abracadabra, but you have to start counting from 6, and you can go up to the end of the string. So from where you need to start counting? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to start counting AB from this point, and you can go up to end. Here the substring AB appeared once. Therefore, when you press enter, you got 1. Therefore, we can say that the start and end parameters to the count method are optional. The start and end parameters of count method are optional. Next we have the find method. Again, by using the string object, you have to call find method. And you have to find the substring sub. You have to start finding for the substring sub from the index start, and you can go up to the index end. And in between start and end minus 1, you have to find the substring sub in the string. Again, here the start and end arguments are optional, as it was with the count method, optional. So let's use the find method. S is equal to, write a string, it goes as dash ringa ringa roses. Nice string. So we have to find the substring ringa in this string. Oh, I made a mistake. I have to write it goes as ringa ringa roses, and I have written riga ringa roses. So here I need to write N. It goes as ringa ringa roses. Okay, now we have perfect S. Let's find the substring ringa in this string. Right here S dot find substring. The find method returns the first index where the substring has been found. The substring ringa first time found on the index number 13. This is the index number 13 where the substring ringa found for the first time. If you want to search for the string ringa, S dot find substring ringa in the range of 15 to 22 minus 1, that means 21. You will not able to find that because this is 13, this is 14, and this is 15. Okay, this is 16, this is 17, this is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You will not be able to find ringa from 15 up to 22. Even I think you will not be able to find ringa from 15 up to 23. So you will not be able to find ringa from 15 up to 23 because it searches only up to 23 minus 1, that is 22. But you will able to find ringa from 15 up to 24. So you will be able to find ringa at the index number 19 of the string S. So here the find method returns the first occurrence of the substring. So here the find method returns the index of first occurrence of the substring. This is the find method. The another method is the index method. Index is same as the find method. What I mean here is, if I write s dot index sub, s dot index sub, I will get the same output. I will get the same output. If I write s dot index sub 15 comma 24, I will get the same output. S dot index sub 15 comma 24, I will get the same output. But what is the difference between index and find? If a string is not found by the index method, it does not return -1. It throws an exception. It shows value error. So right here index. In this case, the substring will not be found in the given range, and the index method will show value error. This is the difference between find method and index method. So with the find method, we have learned index method. The next method we are going to learn is LNUM, means is alphanumeric. If the string is alphanumeric, in that case, the method will return true, otherwise the method will return false. Now the question is, what is alphanumeric? A string which contains either alphabets or numericals or both in it are called alphanumerical strings. Let's try this method practically. Create a string s1 is equal to abc123, s2 is equal to hello, s3 is equal to 12345, and s4 is equal to an empty string. Now check if s1 is alphanumeric or not. Remember the definition. If a string has only alphabet, if a string has only numerical, if a string has both. In all these three cases, the string is alphanumeric string. So here the strings s1, s2 and s3 are alphanumeric, whereas the string s4 cannot be considered as alphanumeric. Let's call the method is alphanumeric with all these strings. S1 dot is alphanumeric. Press enter. Sorry, this is not the method. You have to write is alnum. Is alphanumeric. True. S1 is alphanumeric. Now check it for S2. S2 dot is alnumeric. True. S2 is also alphanumeric. Check that if S3 is alphanumeric. Yes, S3 is also alphanumeric. But S4 cannot be considered as alphanumeric. S4 is not alphanumeric because this S4 is an empty string. This string neither has an alphabet nor has a numeric characters. Let's try some more experiments. S5 is equal to has $% Press enter. Now you check if S5 is alphanumeric or not. No, S5 is also not an alphanumeric because neither alphabets nor numericals have been appeared in this string. Therefore, S5 is not alphanumeric string. Apart from alphanumeric, you can check if a string is just alphabetic string or not. Like a string is an alphabetic string if it has only alphabets, nothing else. Okay. For example, if I check S2 dot is alpha means if the string is consists of only alphabets or not. But S1 is not alphabetic string because S1 has both alphabets and numericals. So S1 dot is alpha, see here, your IDE is also suggesting me s1 dot is alpha is false because s1 has alphabets and strings together. Of course, s4 and s5 are also not alphabets. So s5 dot is alpha will be false. If I create another string s6 is equal to abc and give a space, then s6 dot is alpha will also return false. Here we are. Because apart from the alphabets, a space appeared in the string. That's why s6 dot is alpha is false. So apart from alphabets, if any other character appeared in the string, then each alpha will return false. Therefore, after each alpha num, we have learned each alpha. Next, we are going to learn about each digit. This method returns true if the string consists of only digits and nothing else. Let's create a string s1 is equal to 1 2 3 4. This string consists of only digits. S1 dot is digit and this returns true. If I create another string by writing 1 2 3 4 followed by space, press enter and write s2 dot is digit, it returns false because apart from 1 2 3 4 something else appeared in the string. If apart from digits anything extra appeared in the string, then s2 dot is digit will return false. So hopefully you are getting it. If I write s3 is equal to abc1 2 3, again s3 dot is digit is false. It will return true only if the string has all the characters as digits and nothing else. After each digit method, you have something called each lower method. Each lower method. Each lower method returns true if all the characters in a string are in lowercase. Otherwise, it returns false. Let's try. If I write s is equal to, all the strings should be in lowercase characters, and s1 is equal to, all the strings, one character is in capital letter. S dot is lower, it returns true. S1 dot is lower, it returns false. If I create the string like s is equal to hello and leave a blank space here, press enter, s dot is lower, enter, it returns true. That means if alphabets appeared and all the alphabets are in lowercase, the is lower method returns true, otherwise false. If I write something s is equal to hello 1 2 3 and try s dot is lower, again it is true. Okay, if I write s is equal to just 1 2 3, s dot is lower, it's false. That means even if single alphabet character appeared in the string and that character is in lowercase, then s dot is lower returns true, otherwise it returns false. Here in this case, none of the alphabet characters appeared in the string, therefore s dot is lower returns false. After is lower, you have another method that is called is space. Is space. Sometimes a string may consist of only space characters. If you call the eachSpace method by using such string, then the method will return true. Let's try it. Create a string s1 is equal to create a string with only space. S1 dot is space. Oh, I misspelled it. S1 dot is space. It returns true. If I write here S1 is equal to an empty string, means the string does not have a space. Therefore, S1 dot is space returns false. S1 dot is space returns false. If I create a string S1 is equal to space h space, then S1 dot is space returns false, because this string does not only have a space, it has also a character. Now let's create one more string. S1 is equal to space backward slash t and space. Press enter. S1 dot is space. It returns true because the backward slash t considered as a space. A tab character is considered as a space. So this string consists of only space. The another method supported by string in Python is called isUpper method. isUpper method. It returns true if all the characters in the string are in uppercase, otherwise false. Create a string s is equal to HELLO, all the strings are in uppercase, press enter. S dot is upper is true. If I create s is equal to a string capital HELLO, s dot is upper is false. If I create a string in which there is no alphabetic character, then s dot is upper returns false. Okay, if there is no alphabetic character, then s dot is upper returns false. The next method in this list is lower method. Lower method. If you call the lower method by using a string, then all the alphabets of that string becomes in lower case and a new string gets created out of those changes. Let's use this method practically. Let's use this method practically. S is equal to say capital H hello. Now S1 is equal to S dot lower. So what you do, convert all the characters of the string s to the lower case and store the new string into the variable s1, and this is how you got the hello with all the characters in a small case. If I write here s is equal to HELLO, all capital characters, then s1 is equal to s dot lower, enter, print s1, and here you got. If you write s is equal to ABC 1 2 and then call s dot lower, then you get ABC 1 2. Means whatever the capital letter alphabetic characters you have, all those characters will be converted to lowercase alphabetical characters. If I write here s is equal to just 1 2 3 and call s dot lower, I get 1 2 3 back, because there is nothing called capital alphabet in the string 1 2 3. And of course, If the string does not have any capital letter in it, then nothing useful will happen if you call the lower method. After lower method, the another important method we have is upper method. Upper method. Similar to lower method, the upper method converts all the alphabetic characters in the string to uppercase. Let's try it. So we have s is equal to all the characters in small letters. Write it s dot upper, and here you got a new string with all the characters in capital letter. The effect of upper is similar to lower. Only difference is that the small case alphabets will be converted to capital alphabets. The another method we are going to learn, actually we are going to learn group of three methods together. The first method is lstrip, second method is rstrip, third method is strip. Let's try these methods one by one. Suppose that you have a string with space characters in the left. Okay, you have one or more space characters in the left. So the string is say apple. You have one or more space characters in the left and you have one or more space characters in the right. Therefore, when you print s, it prints apple like this. But when you call s.lstrip, the lstrip method removes all the space characters from the beginning of the string. Okay, it will not remove the space characters from the end of the string. It will only remove the space characters from the beginning, means from the left of the string. That's why this method is called lstrip. Press enter and here you got this string. The space characters from the beginning have been removed, but the space character at the end, means at the right, is still there. Let's use s.rstrip, means right strip. This method removes all the space characters from the end of the string, means from the right of the string. And here you got the spaces in the beginning of the string are retained, but the spaces at the end of the string got removed. If you type s.strip, it removes all the spaces from the beginning and from the end both. So in all these three cases, you get a new string with removed spaces. For the L strip, you get a string after removing spaces from the left. In the R strip, you get a string by removing spaces from the right. In the strip, you get a string by removing spaces from both left and right. And spaces does not always mean to have a space button, to have a space symbol. You can have tab. You can have tabs instead of space characters. Like I have a space, I have a T backward slash T and then apple followed by a space followed by backward slash T followed by another space. So you can say that I have three spaces in the beginning and three spaces at the end. If I type here s.lstrip, then all the space characters including backward slash T will be removed from the beginning, because backward slash T means tab and tab is considered as a space character. Therefore, all the space characters will be removed from the beginning of the string. If I write here s.rstrip, all the space characters will be removed from end of the string. And if I write here s.strip, then all the space characters will be removed from the beginning and from the end of the string. Of course, you do not have any provision to remove space characters in between the string. Like if I write a space 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 b, then s.strip is not going to remove space characters in between the string. Okay, but the group of these three methods will remove space characters from the left and from the right of the string. The another group of methods we are going to study is starts with and ends with method starts with and ends with method. So if you want to check a string starts with a given substring or not, you use starts with method. Or if you want to check a string ends with a given substring or not, you can use ends with method. Let's try these two methods. Create a string s is equal to abcd. Check if s starts with the string a or not. Yes, s starts with the string a. Then you write s dot starts with the string ab or not. Yes, s starts with the string ab. It is true. Now you check if s starts with the string d or not. No, the string s does not start with the string d. Now let's use s dot ends with d or not. String s ends with d or not. Yes, string s ends with d. S dot ends with cd or not. S dot ends with cd or not. Yes, the string s ends with cd. S dot ends with c or not. S dot ends with c or not. No, the string does not end with cd. And one more thing is that if I write s dot starts with and I write complete string here abcd, then of course the string abcd starts with abcd. The string abcd ends with abcd. The string abcd starts with abcd and the string abcd ends with abcd. These are the starts with and ends with methods. The other method we are going to learn is title method. Title method. What is a title? A title is a string in which all the words starts with a capital letter. For example, computer science with Python for class 11. This is a title because all the words start with a capital letter, a capital character. So if you want to convert a string to a title, then use title method. Let's use the title method. S is equal to computer science with Python for class 11. So this is my string where all the characters are in a small letter. If I type s.title, it creates another string whose words start with capital character, whose words start with capital letter, and this is called title. Other thing is that you can check if a string is title or not. For that you use each title method. For example, if I check s dot each title or not, it will say false because you know that the string s is not a title. But let me create the string s1 is equal to s dot title, type s1. You know that the string s1 is now a title. Then you check if s1 is title or not. S1 is title or not? True. S1 is title. All the words of this string start with a capital letter. That's why S1 is a title now. So apart from the title method, you have something called each title method. Each title. If you want to replace a substring of a string with another substring, then you can use replace method. Let's use replace method practically. Suppose that I have a string s is equal to abracadabra, abra, cadabra, abracadabra, and then you write s dot replace. You replace the string ab with the string sp. So wherever the substring ab appears, that should be replaced with the substring sp. Press enter, and here you got a new string with the replaced substrings. If I write a string I work for you, I work for you, and I call the method replace on this string by arguments of work, comma, care. Okay, so here you remember that the first substring of the caller string will be replaced by the second substring. So press enter, and here you got I care for you. Okay, this is how the replace method works. The other method is called join method. Join method. The join method is more interesting than other methods. Let's see that how it is interesting. If I write a string strict dot join, and in join I pass an argument hello. Strict is the caller string. Using that caller string, I am calling the join method with hello as its argument. Here I get this new string where all the strings, where all the characters in the argument string has been joined by the caller string. Okay, if I write here abcd dot join, and I pass hello as the argument, I got this one. In between all the characters of hello, we got a abcd. This is the join method. Join can be called with a list or tuple with all its elements as a string. What I mean here is that if I write hash dot join, and in the argument I am passing a list with two arguments, the string hi and the string hello. Let's use third argument also, hru. All these three strings will be joined with hash between them. But if I call the same method and use a list with an integer element in it, then join method will throw an error. Okay, so in order to join to work, all the elements in the list should be string, and in the similar way join method also works with tuple. Like if I write here hash hash percent dot dot join, and instead of list let's use tuple. It creates a new string with all the strings in the tuple are joined. Okay, so join method creates a new string with all the strings in the list are joined, and the join method creates a new string with all the string methods in the tuple are joined. So this is the join method. The next we are going to learn is split method. Split method. What do you mean by split method? This is opposite of join method. Let's use it. Suppose that I write here a string s is equal to I love Python. I love Python. Press enter, and I am writing here s dot split. That means I want to split the string. I want to split the string. So if you write s dot split, it will create a new list with all the words as its elements. Okay, This is what the split method is. But you can split the string by using a character of your choice. What I mean here is that if I write s dot split and in between I write o, okay, means split the string on the basis of o. Here the string s was splitted based on o, okay. So in the first element we got I space l, so the string got splitted based on the character o, and the first element of the list is I space l, the second element of the list is ve space pyth, and the third element of the string is n. Similarly, you can write here s dot split based on the character space press enter, and here you got same output as if you have called the split method without using any argument. The last method we are going to study in this sequence is the partition method. Partition method. Let's understand practically that how partition method works. Suppose that I have a string. Suppose that I have a string s is equal to I enjoy working in Python. I enjoy working in Python. Press enter, and then we have to do partition. S dot partition. We have to partition this string based on the string working. The string passed as an argument to the partition method is called the separator string. The string passed as an argument to the partition method is called the separator string. Press enter. This creates a tuple with 3 entries. Okay, a partition method always creates a tuple with 3 entries only. The first entry is the part of the string before the separator string, means this part. The second entry is the separator string itself, and the third entry is the part of the string after the separator string. So the partition method always partitions a given string into 3 parts: the part before the separator string itself, and the part after the separator string. If you pass a string to the partition method which does not exist in the string s, then in that case the partition method creates a tuple with 3 strings, where the first part is the whole string and second and third parts are empty strings. So I think you can differentiate in the working of split and working of the partition method. The split method splits the string on any occurrence on the separator string, on any number of occurrence of the given argument. Means wherever the string working appears, a new element of a list gets created at that point. But here in the partition, we are creating a tuple with only 3 members. One is the part of the string on the left of the separator string, other one is the separator string, and third one is the string at the right of the separator string. So that's all about the syllabus of class 11. We learned all the functions supported by Python string which have to discussed in the class 11th. See you in the next video where we will learn about list in Python.